able to salvage a Friday evening too. Once it gets going past Charlotte, it will begin to pick up speed. So the storm will go west of us. Okay, that hasn't changed. That changed yesterday, and that's remained the same since then. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. Notice it's past us. It's north of us. So that's good. That's why we think maybe Friday evening may be okay. At least nothing with heavy rain, maybe a passing shower or two. But as we mentioned yesterday, on Tuesday, that red line is the track. So when you have the track west, anybody east could see some severe weather. Now, it's not as strong a storm as like Isabel or something like that. But that said, we could still see some severe weather. The best chances sort of like Leesburg, maybe to Winchester, down to Luray, over to Culpeper and Fredericksburg. Kind of the southwest quadrant of D.C. That's probably west of D.C. That's probably the best chance for severe weather. And that would occur late Thursday night into early Friday morning. And when I say severe weather, I'm mainly concerned about damaging winds and a couple of little tornadoes, EF0s. Okay, this has never been a windstorm, but I thought I'd show you this anyway. So this is sustained wind there in white, and the other number to the right of that is gust. Okay, it's gusting to 39 miles per hour in Wilmington. So that is exactly tropical storm force winds. Now, I will say this, we'll take this into the future. So this is a wind gust forecast, and take this with a grain of salt, but this is 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Winds could be gusting to 26. Midnight Friday could be gusting to 26. By Friday morning, near 30 mile per hour winds. And by the way, there's a small craft advisory on the bay for tomorrow, and there's a gale watch on the bay Thursday evening through Friday. Now let's put this back into motion. So by lunchtime Friday, we could see winds of 38 miles per hour. This model, I think, is a little slow moving the system. We'll advance it again. By 8 o'clock Friday night, now winds are more out of the west-southwest, which means the storm's through us. But winds can still gust to 36 miles per hour, and even up in New York, 44, 46 mile per hour winds, even a 50 mile per hour wind at Ocean City. So not a windstorm. Still want you to focus on the rain and the potential for flooding, but there will be some tropical storm force gusts. Now, let's talk about tonight. We have had some big downpours here in the metro, and it is just some kind of tropical out there. So this is the past couple of hours. Now, these are not associated with Debby. These are associated with a frontal boundary that's dropping from north to south. It'll kind of put the brakes on around D.C. and then work its way back northward as Debby begins to approach from the south. So notice they're kind of moving from east to west. And that's the only threat tonight, is flooding and heavy downpours. So that's the past couple of hours. We'll zoom in. This is a pretty decent area of showers right along the river, kind of straddling, Fairfax and Montgomery County, and even up into Loudoun County as well. Rainfall rates there are not crazy, but let's just check them out, because you know what we have? We have some time, and that's good. So let's talk about the rainfall rates right here. Probably half an inch, maybe 3/4. No, it's an inch. It's an inch per hour. That's pretty good. Some of the storms earlier around Frederick had a rainfall rate of 5 inches per hour. That's almost record-setting. Rainfall rate right there near Poolsville is 2.38 inches per hour. So these have some pretty decent amounts of moisture. Again, it is so tropical outside. There's what we call a ton of precipitable water available that can be wrung out of the atmosphere, and these little showers are doing it. Little storm also over toward Albany. So that's the main threat tonight in terms of the showers. Don't think we see any lightning or anything, winds or anything like that. We'll move up a little further. Now, this area is under a flood warning, flash flood warning until 10:15. I know it looks funny because the storms are gone, but flooding is still occurring. My hunch is it'll be taken down before 10:15. But still, if you're anywhere in the Frederick area, you do not want to cross a flooded street or road. I know we're running right through I-70 here. And also 270, but some of the side roads, just find another way home. It's just not it's not worth it. It really isn't. In fact, we could zoom in a little bit and talk about some of the roads where if you come across a flooded street, it's just not worth it. Remember, you can't see how deep the water is or how fast it's moving. There's no way to judge that. So, like Park Mills Road up toward Flint Hill and just south of Buckystown, there's some little roads off of 80 and 85. Either wait or just turn around. Again, it'll probably go away in a matter of, I think, at 45 minutes to an hour. I think it's going to be taken down pretty soon. So just sort of keep that in mind, okay? But that goes for the time being till 10:15. There's a pretty good shower out toward Berryville, around Purcellville too. Rainfall rates there, pretty impressive, over an inch per hour. So, and because they're moving so slowly kind of along the front, this is where we kind of get in trouble, where we could have some flooding, more flooding, I guess I should say, later tonight and into tomorrow morning. So keep that in mind. But again, no winds, no hail, and no rotation. Okay, so let's talk about this. Look at the rainfall. Last 24 hours, pretty impressive. I mean, just north of Leesburg, that's a lot of rain, 5 inches. And you know what? That's exactly where they need the rain, in Loudoun County and down into Fauquier County and Prince William County, because you guys are in extreme drought. And most of you folks are actually under well water, use well water. So that is good news. But it did lead to that flooding, the flash flood warning up around Frederick tonight. Okay, now, you want some real amounts? Last 24 hours, 10 inches, almost 11 inches. So this is just north of Myrtle Beach. Essentially, it's, not inland more than 50 miles, but that's the heaviest rainfall we could find. And that's just 24 hours. I mean, some areas have had 20 inches of rain with the remnants of Debby. Well, it's still technically Tropical Storm Debby. So we'll move back offshore, and we'll put this into motion. And here are the bands, feeder bands. And they've moved a tiny bit north. If you were with us earlier this evening, they were kind of in between. They were a little south of Wilmington. But because the storm has moved, 10, 15 miles, they're a little further north. Here's the broad circulation of the storm. And the bands move onshore, and then they come back around, then they come back offshore, and they just repeat, rinse and repeat. As far as we're concerned, the bands are up to Norfolk right now. There were a couple of bands. We could sort of pin that on Debby. That was south and southwest of Richmond. Now, we do have a flood watch for our western areas, and we talked about this yesterday. Because the track went further west, heaviest axis of rain also shifted west. Not to say we're not going to see some big rains in town. I'll show you that in a second. But for now, Washington County, west, that is where the flood watch has been posted until 8 o'clock on Friday night. Again, Weather Service is discussing whether or not we need one in the immediate metro. And that right there means there's a warning right now. Flooding is occurring. Again, that's the warning, flash flood warning for Frederick County until 10:15. So the takeaway with this is don't let your guard down if you're, not in the shaded area of green. But you also should kind of say, oh, okay, well, that's where the heaviest rain is going to fall, either side of I-81. And if that is the case, and it looks like that's going to be the case, because of the terrain, we're going to see some flooding up here. And also, because of the Potomac River Basin, we'll probably see some Potomac River cresting at some flood levels by the time we get to Saturday, maybe even Sunday morning, because it takes about 24 hours to go down. All right, so here's Futurecast. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. It has some pretty heavy activity just south of us. See the red? It has, light showers across much of the metro. So I would just go ahead and plan on a wet day at camp and a wet commute. Put this into motion. By 9 o'clock in the morning, that's a very heavy cell covering most of Charles County. Still tropical, temperatures in the 70s across the board. Pretty heavy cell up in Baltimore, and even, out 66 parts of Fairfax. Pretty heavy. Now, that lifts northward, so even at 1 o'clock on Thursday, we still have, heavy rain and heavy isolated storms. It's going to be a mess trying to get between D.C. and Baltimore Thursday afternoon. And they moved the game, the Nats game, till 12:05 tomorrow. They might be able to get it in. It's going to be close because this is going to move out after lunchtime, and by 6 o'clock, it's just sort of lingering north of us. Nothing crazy heavy, just some pockets of moderate showers. But guess what happens? We get the real remnants Thursday night into Friday morning. So this is Thursday night, heavy activity just on Culpeper's doorstep. Now it begins to lift northward. So this is the heaviest rain, Culpeper, Luray. This is 1:30 in the morning on Friday. it's still 80 degrees downtown. It's just miserable. Now, it does encompass much of the metro by Friday morning, and this is the last little band that I think could produce some severe weather in parts of the metro. I'd even extend that risk into southern Maryland, but certainly, as I mentioned, back to the south and west of us as well. So Friday morning's commute looks worse than Thursday morning's commute. But the good news, by 8:30, the heaviest activity is now essentially I-95 and east and I-70 and north, and I-68 and north. That's pretty good. By 12:30, it just has some leftover showers, but the heavy activity now is across the bay. The rain that would cause flooding is across the bay. And check this out. By 5:30, it has sunshine back on Friday. Low 90s to upper 80s across the board. Will be kind of breezy too, but by that time, the storm's very far north of us, and you know, that would be fantastic. So if that were the case, what we would do is we would take the weather impact alert and just tailor it a little bit and shrink it a little bit. We've already taken Saturday out. We may take Saturday morning, may take Friday night out. All right, rainfall. This is 7:40 on Friday. Again, heaviest rainfall is west. Further west you go, further southwest you go, heavier it's going to be. Okay, Debbie's impacts. Here's our weather impact alert for now. We'll update this at 11. We're going to say Thursday through Friday, the impact, 1 to 4 inches of rain, plus we could see over 4 inches in some of the areas along I-81. Some flooding, yes. Isolated storms, yes. What do you need to do? Move your plans indoors. Hopefully you've already cleaned your gutters. If you haven't, I think that ship has sailed. Take the umbrella, get the dog towels out. I will say this, move your plans indoors. You saw the Futurecast on Friday. Maybe we could be outdoors a Friday night. It's going to be, a little breezy, but looks like it's going to be generally dry. All right, timeline. Showers and storms on Thursday, wet commute to and from work, heaviest rain at night west of D.C. Friday, rain showers and storms, wet in the morning, but possibly, we're not necessarily a wet commute going home on Friday. Flooding is possible, severe storms possible. That's in the morning. And again, the heaviest rain along the I-81 axis. Saturday, I think it's going to be a great day, I really do. I mean, at the worst case scenario, early we'll have a shower or some clouds, but your outdoor plans are safe. Now, they may be limited because of our 1 to 4 inches of rain. I mean, golf courses may say cart path only, maybe too wet still to do a hike, but you could certainly, walk the dog and, get outside, do some stuff. Low humidity. That's going to be nice after our 3 or 4 tropical days because it is some kind of tropical. So hopefully you've done all this, clear your gutters, downspouts, and storm drains. The best thing you can do in the next 24 hours is check your sump pump. Make sure it's plugged in. If you're driving, I would keep a half a tank or more of gas in the car in case roads are closed or in case you come across an impediment, maybe a downed tree. All right, so here's our weather impact alert. Thursday and Friday, we've left Saturday alone. And look at the lows on Saturday, 67. That's 50s in the burbs Saturday night. So we'll reap some benefits once the remnants of Debbie get out of here. So on Sunday, we're in great shape too. Mid-80s, lows again in the 50s in the burbs. And then mid-80s on Monday. Some showers Tuesday, but then another nice day on Wednesday. So I will, at 11 o'clock, I'll revisit this and see if we can end the showers and rain in the morning. And if that were the case, I'd have to up the temperature just a little bit. Okay, we've got preseason. Yeah, I know. We're talking about tropical storms. We got football on our air, okay, on Saturday at noon, taking on the Jets, MetLife Stadium. Our own Chick Hernandez is on the call. Nice up there, too, 80 to 85. And again, it is a noon start. So that's good news. The storm gets out of here for us earlier and gets out of there earlier for them as well. So we'll see you tonight at 11. I'll have maybe I'll trim this in half, and maybe we'll just have the weather impact alert on the first half of Friday. And if I do that, we'll have to update the temperature. And, of course, we'll have a new run from the NHC and all the models, and we'll make sure that axis of rain stays where it is. It may shift. It could still shift again another 10 miles or so between now and Friday. For now, I'm meteorologist Topper Shutt. Remember, download our WUSA9 app. If things get crazy, we will send you apps. Just allow notifications. Bye.